Hey guys, I'm just going to frame the work that Dan and Rick did basically with their API. At HomelessLink we administer a database of directory of homelessness services. We use it for a lot, and it's a really valuable resource internally, but it's unfortunately because of the way that, as you can imagine, in organisations it is evolved, it's become fairly convoluted, hard to work with, hard to share. Oh yeah, sorry. So this was the problem basically. The outputs of the data essentially is stored in a database, and what we work with in HomelessLink is just multiple CSV files, and it's just so hard because essentially I could get asked for a query one day, and then my colleague would be asked the next day, and we could honestly it could take hours to match the fields that we've used, and it's just awful. As it says, ambiguous column names, it's hard to query, and to be honest, if we could find a way to standardise the data and make it shareable, we'd actually be increasing the value of it and the value of our organisation, and in turn increase the value of other organisations' work in terms of their research. The problem with this, problem that we tried to phrase was, how do we take that data and turn it into something that could be used in an app or in some sort of online tool, which is what Rick's going to.
Yes, we started with the data that was provided for this hack day in the CSV files. I don't know if anyone else had a look at it, but it was pretty hard to manipulate. You know, as Sean said, it's just columns with random codes in it, seemed. So ideally, it's what we would have done if we'd had 2 weeks. We'd published the data as five-star open data, which would let you produce a range of APIs. So just for ideas like Sparkle or link data, maybe bespoke API or RESTful APIs on top of that. Basically, I'm a strong believer in giving people what they want to use, so there's no point forcing people to use Sparkle if they don't understand it. You can build other things on top that most web developers will know how to use. So obviously that would need some documentation and other tools to use it. And then, given all that, you can build stuff on top of it. So this is what we actually did do. It's a manual manipulation of those CSV files. And we scripted up an import into a Mongo database and built a RESTful JSON API on top of it using Rails and Mongoid. And using some data from the Org Survey, Office of National Statistics and DCLG from open data communities, we came up with a solution. So basically we built an API, and it's only got one action. It looks like that. So basically local authorities.json, and you can pass in the lat and long. So just quickly, there's an example of what you get if you call it, and that's actually it works.
Fabulous.
So basically, it's not user-facing, but it's meant as a platform that other people can build apps on top of. So you can see here, passed in latitude 51.5 and longitude 0.14, and it came back and said this is in Bexley. And these are the services that Bexley provides. So the address, it's got address details. The service offers a range of services for older people, and hasn't got a telephone number, this one. Service type of advice. This is basically a big array of all the services you can get in Bexley, because it knows that latitude and longitude is in Bexley.
Sorry, so are you aggregating the data from all of those sources in order to provide information on a location basis?
Yeah. So
okay.
we didn't actually put what we do.
Just for everyone. I just thought, throw it out there in case that's helpful to anyone.
We've got some spreadsheets from HomelessLink combined with location-based services from other places, such as the Org Survey and the DCLG.
Which could be helpful, presumably, if you're able to tap that back end and to power a multitude of sort of different...
So we made a little example at the end of achieving this. So make that request and you get this response. So I just walk through that basically. So you've got what local authority is and an array of what it provides. So how does it work? It basically runs a Sparkle query against the open data community's Sparkle endpoint based on the latitude and longitude that you pass in. So that gives you back a local authority. And then, based on that local authority, we do a lookup against our database that we scripted the CSV files into, and then spits the answer out as JSON. So, Dan knocked up at the end of the day. Just for completeness, that's the Sparkle query that actually gets the stuff. So Dan at the end of the day knocked up this little app, actually based on current location from the HTML5 geolocation API. It knows where we are. And it can, using that JSON response, build this list of what services are available in Westminster with all the details. So that's actually coming a live request to the database.
That's clever.
So, some caveats. The local authority boundary information that we used is not available as RDF. It's not fully machine readable. Well, it is, but it's just as GeoJSON files, which is just a list of them. We'd have to parse through every single one to work out, to do like point in polygon maths to work out which local authority you're actually in. So what we've done, we've just used the nearest centroid of a local authority. But I'm doing some work with the DCLG to provide more geographic lookup APIs to actually do that maths for you. So passing it that long, you actually get back local authority.
So is that,
Could you use? I was going to say, could you use postcodes to map? So
We
Black
already
Long.
have postcode to local authority mapping, but you might not know what postcode you're at if you're just walking along and you want to report a homeless person.
Okay.
So that's why we went for that long, because this API, the design of it was partially kind of driven by the requirements of the next team who are going to present, who actually used this API. So also, the data, which was provided as CSV files, isn't actually open yet. It was only provided for this hack day, and so we need to work out what the licensing is for actually publishing that. But hopefully, we should be able to publish it.
so would that mean, sorry, for me and the other less technical people in the group, that you would be able to then create through this piece of work that you're talking about a connection between the longitude and latitude attributable kind of groupings of local services to something like Bexley, which is recognizable to the end user.
So at the moment we've done that based on the middle of the nearest local authority, so you might be wrong if you're going to near a boundary,
Right.
because the centre of it might not be your nearest one. So at the moment it's kind of a rough prototype, but shortly in a few weeks that other API will be available, so we can actually get you the exact local authority you're in and then get you the list of actual services that you can access. Any questions? Sorry I raced through that, I was very aware of 5 minute deadline.